Today we're going to sketch the graph of g of x equals negative x squared times x minus 2 times x plus 3 by using end behavior, finding zeros, and explain the behavior near each zero. Now we already have this formed into finding our zeros, so we already have this in x minus 2, x plus 3. But to get a better idea of how the graph is going to look, we're going to refactor this to give us a better look. So we bring these over, multiplying each other, you get negative x squared times x squared plus x minus 6. Now we're going to distribute the negative x squared to each 3 to give us an idea of the graph. We get negative x to the 4th minus x to the 3rd plus 6x squared. Now since we have a negative and an even number, we know our graph is going to be moving down at some points. Now we also know that because it's x to the 4th, we're going to have some kind of jump at some time. We don't know where it's going to be, but we know it's going to look something like this. So now we need to find the zeros. Going back to our original equation, negative x squared times x minus 2, x plus 3, what we can do is set each of these to 0, giving you x equals 2, x equals negative 3, and negative x squared will give you x equals 0. So we have the 0, 2, and negative 3. Now we want to get an idea of near the zeros, how the graph is going to move. It's going to bounce or just go right through. What we're going to do is plug in our first 0 here. Let's get negative x squared, put in the 0 here, and 0 here. You get negative x squared times negative 2 times 3 will give you 6x squared. Because this is raised to 2, we're going to see a bounce kind of. Now we are going to see, if we put 2 here, near 2, plug these in, we're going to get negative 4 times x minus 2 times 5, give you negative 20 x minus 2. Here, we're going to use the 3 now. Plug in the negative 3 here, and leave this alone, because if we put 3 here, it would give you 0. So you have the negative 9 times the negative 5 times the x plus 3. These will give you 45 times x plus 3. So these are going to go right through the graph. We're going to go straight through. Next step is between the zeros. We're going to find some points that we can plot on our graph to get us a better idea. So between negative 3 and 0, you can choose any number. I chose negative 2. So plugging in negative 2, where you see the x, you have negative 2 squared times negative, plug in the 2, negative 2 minus 2, and negative 2 plus 3. Then you get negative 4 times a negative 4 times 1 will give you 16. So we know our point will be negative 2 and 16. And then between 0 and 2, I just chose 1. Plugging this in for each x, you get negative 1 times a negative 1 times 4 will give you 4. Now, we can actually graph our equation. First thing we're going to do is plot our zeros. We know it's at 0, 0, 2, 0, and negative 3, 0. So we put it here, the 0, 0, and the 2, 0. Now we're going to plot our other points that we had. We had the negative 2 and 16, and the 1 and 4. Put that up here, and the 1 and 4. Now we're finding near the zeros, we are seeing if it was going to be a bounce, where it was going to move up like this, or if it was going to run right through. And as we found earlier, it makes sense that these run right through, and these are just bounce. And then, connecting the graphs, we see that these do move both downwards, and it has a rise and a bump, and it goes back down. So So this is our graph.